Welcome to a special edition of the Naked Bigfoot's Fireside Paranormal Chat. I know I didn't do much advertisement on this one. I just pulled it completely out of my ass. As always, before I begin, um, here are the disclaimers. Um, the views and opinions of the Naked Bigfoot, which is myself, Mike the Naked Bigfoot, are his and his alone. I am not here to change your mind. I am not here to change your religion. I'm not here to change your outlook on life. I am here to provide entertainment and information. And if by some strange chance I happen to open your mind to some of the greater possibilities of our world and some of the more interesting things of our world and make you intellectually curious to go out and discover answers in yourself, then I have done my job. Also, this show is not for anybody under the age of 18, especially tonight. Tonight is going to be, I will be discussing some very, very, both personal and gruesome, um, well, it'll have some gruesome imagery, okay, tonight. There will also be probably a copious amount of the word fuck. So if you're offended by the word fuck or any other piece of foul language, please, this show is definitely not for you. If you have any children that you don't wish to expose them to such graphic imagery or the word fuck often and frequently, please have them leave the room. Go to a more secure location. Where'd that come from? Fuck. And as always, if you wish to play the drinking game, there is a drinking game that is played here on my channel. Um, want to welcome everybody for attending tonight. I know I pulled this one completely out of my ass, so thanks to everybody who came on. Tonight's the drinking game, which is every time I have it, every time you hear me say that's a story for another day, then please drink. I have a habit of, I have paranormal ADHD, so sometimes I wander off topic. And when I catch myself, I'll stop myself and remind everybody that I'll do a story or a show on it on another day. And when you hear me say that, take a sip of your adult beverage. Or if you're not a drinker, if you're not an alcoholic drinker, then sip of your tea or your coffee or your sody pop or whatever. And if you are drinking an alcoholic beverage, do not drink and drive because this show will probably get you incredibly drunk. Oh, wow. Fuck. Thanks for everybody for coming on. I see everybody popping on in the chat. Good to see you all. Like I said, let's begin the show. Tonight's a very special edition of my paranormal fireside chat. Mainly because I've decided that my YouTube channel is going to be a video diary. It's going to get kind of depressing in a few minutes, so I apologize for that. I'm not going to be depressing. I'm not a depressing individual. Um, I'm not going to say the final days of my life, because we never know how many days we have left. But I want to chronicle some of the more interesting highlights of my life and have it available out there for everybody to come back and see. To not only see the written word, which will be out very soon, but to also see my spoken word and to see my face and know that there's a face behind all of these stories and there's a human being that experienced all of these things. I just thought it'd be it would make a good video diary. Okay, on with the show. Okay, for the last, God, it's been almost 5 days. I've been having some crazy, insane dreams. And the thing is, and I'm gonna get into more, explain myself as I always do after I tell parts. For those who don't know me and don't know my style, that's my style. You see, my dreams lately, the things that I've been seeing, I've been having what's called they're called a waking dream. For those who don't understand the concept of a waking dream, it's a altered state of consciousness. It's an altered state of mind. It's an altered state of your spirit. Where 1 second you're in your body and you're in the current construct of reality, and the next second you're standing in the middle of a spiritual world, of a spirit plane. It's different for everyone who experiences it. The way it looks, you bring it with you. You alter the way it looks based on your experiences and based on the state of your soul and your spirit. Okay. Real quick before I get too far deep into the story. Much earlier in my life, God, decades ago, before I found my faith, and I was still researching by myself the paranormal and supernatural and the preternatural and the cryptid world on the road. I met many shamans, many priests of every race, religion, and creed, and a few of them that I met introduced me to the altered state of consciousness by using various and a sundry, not illegal drugs. The drugs they gave me were natural drugs. These were things that were found in nature that grew naturally, that were harvested by themselves. It's six individual herbs, but by themselves they're harmless. Some of them are slightly toxic, but only in great doses. But when you combine them, they produce an altered state of consciousness inside of you that allows you to exit your physical form as a spiritual form and walk in the spirit world. And for a number of years, I used those drugs to do that. And sometimes I would do it daily. 7 days a week I would do it. It was the ultimate high for me to explore the world of the spiritual world around me. By getting back to the hotel room or back to the house or back to the apartment, and I would leave my body and explore the world around me. As time went on and the more I did it, I found that I could start. Apparently, I changed myself enough, and I did it enough to where I started being able to do it without the drugs, or without the herbs. I shouldn't say drugs. It sounds like, well, a cokehead, but I'm not, or a crackhead, but I'm not. And I was able to do it with very little effort. Sometimes in a meditative trance, where I could push myself out of my body. And I got better and better at it. And during the entire time I did it, I was able to bond with my spiritual companion, my little girl with no eyes that's been with me my entire life. She's a spiritual creature. She's a spiritual thing it's non-human. That has been with me my entire life, and I was able to better interact with her, and she was actually able to provide a great deal of guidance in the spiritual world and keep me out of a lot of trouble that I could have gotten into while I was taking my little spiritual journeys around and around and around. As of lately, and for those of you who don't know, and there's a lot of people who, what was that, Papa Joey? I missed that. It disappeared too quickly. Looked like it was a good question. It's all a matter of perspective. Um, I have been, for those of you who don't know, I've had bad, my health has been bad. Um, I have, long story short, amongst other life-saving procedures that I do every week, life-extending procedures that I do every week. Twice a week, I go in and have dialysis done. Um, and as of late, when I attend my appointments, uh, I have a waking dream. As I'm sitting, in my big relaxing chair, having my blood and bodily fluids sucked out and cleansed and pumped back into me, I find myself pushed. I I involuntarily push myself out of my body into that altered state of consciousness. I leave my body, and my spirit's been roaming. Let me explain what that's like for a second. Um, I call it's called I call it the house of dreams, or the dream house, because as soon as I leave my body, or I push myself out of my body, I'm still in the same room that I'm in. It's still got the same furniture. Wherever I'm sitting or kneeling, or in this case in bed, um, when I'm pushed out of my body, all the furniture and the floor is there, but the walls and the ceiling are missing. And all around me, I'm always in a forest that's filled with a dark forest. It's The sun does not shine in this house of dreams, but it's always bright enough to see. And the forest is sylvan. It is filled with fog, a low fog, I can see. If I look out past the where I'm at, past the floor of the room, I can see out further, but then the fog hazes it to where I can't see too many details. But that's how it is. That's how it always starts off, when I push myself out of my body. But lately, I've been involuntarily leaving my body. Now, there's lots of things you can do when you are doing a spirit walk, such as that. You can interact with the spiritual realm. You can interact with the spirits of other people and other things. You can commune with the deities that you may believe in. Um, there's lots of things you are capable of doing uh, as you spirit walk. Um, but one of the more interesting things that you can do, which is probably one of the more problematic things, and it's problematic because it's happening a great deal with me. Um, there are instances when I walk too far into the woods, and the woods begin to disappear, and everything begins to lose shape around me. I can turn around and I can see the woods behind me, and I can see, my wall-less room behind me, sitting in the clearing. But the further in the woods I go, if I don't have a purpose, if I'm just wandering, if I'm just walking, if I have a purpose, if I'm going someplace, or if I'm seeking information, or if I'm going to go commune with a spirit, or go commune with a deity, then that formless nothingness provides the shape that I need to be able to do it with. But if I have absolutely no objective when I do it, if I'm just, for shit and giggles, I'm walking through the woods, And this is where it gets weird, so you'll have to forgive me. And you're probably saying, Mike, you talking about something weird? Fuck, that's the whole basis of the show, is talking about weird shit, isn't it? But that's a story for another day. Yeah, I did that. Just to pull that out of my ass to make people drink. The nothing. Well, no, Papa Joey, that's actually a really, really, really great. That's a great analogy. Actually, it's more like Aboriginal dream time, where all things in our physical reality are, if anything new is created, it's created from the dream time. In the dream time, there is nothing. But all things that were created and all things that will be created come from the dream time. So if you believe in the Australian Aboriginal dream time, then that's probably the best way to explain it. Um, Especially with what's been happening lately. There's a blurring when you stand outside of the forest, when you stand outside of the woods, um, where there's absolutely, literally nothing. It's formless. It's just hard to talk about. um, Time literally has no meaning there. All times are the same time out there in the void. And if you stay there long enough, you'll see the past, the present, and the future all happening at the exact same time. It's a cacophony of images that appears around you. Um, and if you take a moment to concentrate on on the voices or the imagery that's flashing in front of you, um, you can get glimpses of the past. You can get glimpses of the past that pertain to you. You can get glimpses of the past of anyone else's or any other place's history. Um, this is also the place where that those who do remote viewing, this is the place I believe that they're at when they are in the present and they're looking for something in the present to go view remotely. I believe it's this formless void, this dream time, um, which is where they are, and they see it. They're able to travel to it because they focus on one of those voices or one of those images, and they go there and they can view it. You can also see, which is probably the scariest part, um, probable futures. And I'm not going to get too deep into quantum mechanics, and but especially when it pertains to time in general, um, and string theory and all that other fun shit. But quantum mechanics is probably the scientific equivalent of the paranormal when you think about it. Because quantum mechanics is so fantastical. Um, that it is preternatural by its own nature, quantum mechanics. So I truly believe that quantum mechanics falls deeply into the realm of the supernatural and paranormal. And this is the place where quantum mechanics begins to make sense, is when you're in this nothingness, when you've gone too far. Because that's what I was told once by my great teacher who helped me on my spiritual journey to be the Hungan that I am today. He told me that I was wandering too far in the world of the spirit at one point. He did not approve of my dream walking that I did all the time. But he did not discourage me from doing it because I'd gotten quite good at it. And I was able to provide answers to his followers and to the faithful, to his faithful and to my faithful, that could not be readily available. You know, it was, it came in useful at the time. But he didn't approve of it. He thought I was going too far. I was walking too far away into the strange, um, going places where I didn't belong. That wasn't meant to go to. But again, he never discouraged me. He would always, suck his teeth and shake his head and go, just make sure you're anchored with us and always come back, because I would sorely miss you. And he would walk out of the room. But that's a story for another day. He gave me many interesting pieces of advice, some of the crazy shit that I did. Oh yeah, Papa Joey. I truly believe that's where um, remote viewing takes place, in that dream time state where, you know, time has lost all of its meaning. There are no boundaries to time anymore. It's unleashed. Because I believe the only boundaries we place upon time are the ones that are within our mind. Ooh, that got deeper than I meant it to be. Okay, get back to the story. Okay. Like I said, I've been slipping into this state, this unconscious hyper consciousness, um, for it's been getting more frequent over the last few months, but over the last 5 days, it's happened every single day, um, without me meaning for it to happen. It's been happening. And instead of being in my room with no walls surrounded by the forest that I would have to walk through, it would still be the room with no walls, but I was surrounded by the that void. There was nothing beyond the floor, beyond the tiles of the floor. There was nothing at all. I didn't experience all three times anymore. I began to. Oh, by the way, this is also the place when you want to relive, past lives. This is one place to go and explore them, find them, and interact with them. By the way, too. I should do a show on that. I actually did that. I did that with some help from somebody who was much better at it than me, with exploring past lives in an altered state of consciousness. She was fascinating. I never tried doing remote viewing. I never tried to go to places. I was hell bent on the past for some reason, exploring the past, and going to places in the past. I never liked going to places in the present. And I avoided the future because the future was, it had a lot of sharp edges associated with it that hurt, you both spiritually and physically when you woke up. Um, it would cause it. I would wake up and I would be literally bleeding out of my eyes if I stared too hard at the future. I'm about to get to that now. When lately I've been slipping into that state of consciousness, I was not experiencing um, all times anymore. There wasn't that cacophony of time around me. Um, there also wasn't an option to be syncretic and to slow it down and to focus on one image. Instead, I was bombarded with one incredibly powerful, well, Okay, I'm just gonna fucking tell you. Yesterday morning, it happened when I was getting my dialysis. I slipped out of my body. And I stepped away from the. If you've ever seen the things they put you in, the stupid fucking recliner things, they hook you up to them, and you've got other people in the room with you, and the place stinks of death, and it has so much bad juju in there that it's. Ugh, I have to take a shower when I leave. It just sticks to you like tar. It's horrible when you're in there amongst all these people that are dying faster than you. Um, it's really really rough to be in that room. To be in those rooms. Trust me, it's incredibly rough. It's painful. Um, but I never have the option of having a private suite. I did ask one time, and I got stared at really hard, so I didn't ask anymore. Um, I stepped up and I was walking to the edge of the void, and picture this. 1 second, you're staring into absolutely nothing. You're surrounded by nothing, absolutely nothing at all. Formless, shapeless void. You look down past your floor and there's absolutely nothing. If you step over into it, you don't fall. There's something that's keeping you suspended. You can walk across that void quite easily and quite readily, like it was solid ground. Although it would freak you out because it looked like it dropped into nothing, but there was something there holding you. When I stepped to I got out of I realized what had fucking happened immediately. But instead of trying to force myself back into my body, because I turned around and I saw my body lying there, hooked up to fucking tubes. Um, but I couldn't hear any of the sounds of the machinery going off. The wonderful clicks, as I call it, the ice cream maker, as the ice cream maker is churning and turning your blood and keeping it warm and pumping it back into you. Um, I couldn't hear that clicking anymore, that whir of machinery anymore. So that was comforting. Um, but I blinked. When I turned around, I blinked. And I was standing in someone's house, and it was on fire. And it was an old house. I was standing in the living room, and the entire house was engulfed in flames. I could hear people screaming upstairs. I saw the pets had already died downstairs. They were about 10 feet from me, going out the door leading out into it looks like a sitting area. The pets were already dead. Um, but I could hear people screaming bloody murder and coughing up the flight of stairs that was off to my right. It was, it happened. It seemed like it was going on and on and on, but it only lasted for a few seconds. Because I said out loud, what the fuck? And then I blinked, and I was standing outside of the house, and the house was burning. Um, smoke was coming out of every corner. And then I found that I recognized the house. It was a family that lived in Lovington that we had done my business. One of our businesses is a landscaping design business, and I designed a lot of the gardens there at that house. Sold them there as well, and we also kept the lawn up in that house in Livingston too. And I could hear behind me. I turned around and realized that the patch of grass I was standing on, and the house was sitting on its foundation, but there was nothing else around us. Nothing but that void and the burning house in front of me and the little patch of grass that I was standing on. Um, I got goosebumps right now. I'm sorry. I'm reliving the moment right now when I saw all that. I blinked again, and I was back in my body. Well, before I went to my body, I was in the chair with nothing around me, and then I was back in my body completely. And I had a gasping moment and stood up in the chair, and it would set off all the nurses, by the way. They thought I was having a seizure. So I got some unwarranted attention from those people. So on the way home, I'm sitting in the back seat being the asshole that I'm usually am when that's over with because I'm exhausted, I'm tired. I have no energy. I'm being my own pissy little self, but I vividly remember me being in the house with dead pets, with it burning down around me. And then this morning, when I wake up, I hear on the radio, I see on television, that last night, that family's house in Livingston, they were our clients, it burned to the ground and killed everybody in the house. Not a single person got out. They died last night. The husband, the wife, and 3 kids. Teenager and three elementary school kids, a set of twins. Young daughter, the youngest, just started kindergarten. They were all dead this morning. I stood in the house and I heard that. I was there. I saw it before it happened. That was the worst one. Like I said, it's been happening for days. And every time it's involved someone dying. Another time it was a woman jumping off of a bridge locally, committing suicide, jumping off of a bridge over top of the railroad tracks and killing herself. And then she did it. And I heard about it the next morning. Rail worker drowning in the river. Fell off the bridge into the river and drowned. I stood at the bottom of that bridge and watched him fall into the water and die. The next day he was dead. I've been There's a lot about the universe I don't understand. And there's a lot about the universe I do understand. Both the rational and irrational, and the sane and insane parts, and the orderly and the chaotic parts of the universe. Um, I'm trying to understand why am I seeing them die? Why am I having to watch people die over and over again? No one's lived yet. They've all died. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know if I'm being punished by one of the greater powers out there for something that I did. I'm trying to remember if I did any transgressions. That if I've gone too far. I don't know. Occasionally I'd see something. Over the last 20, 30 years, I'd occasionally see something that was shocking or painful. But this is nonstop. Every day. And tonight I expect to wake up tomorrow morning and find out that a husband shot his wife and his daughter in a little townhouse, in a house that I recognized, in a family that I recognized. And why is it people that I've had interactions with? I don't. Fuck. They're not friends, but people that I've known in my life. But Dr. Bruce is going to kill his wife tonight. He's going to kill his daughter tonight. And it's going to happen on High Street. At least that's what they showed me. That's what I saw. This video is probably going to get taken down by YouTube because I just said that. I'm hoping that I'm wrong this time. I'm hoping that when I listen to the news and read the paper, I won't, or speak to any of the neighbors, I won't have to hear about that happening. Again, I have no idea whether I'm being... I have a clue. I've danced with death a lot in my life. Always danced with death. Death holds no mysteries for me at all. I am not afraid of death for myself. I realize there's more in the next world that I will probably find interesting and exciting. It'll be fun. Be able to explore things, do things. Fuck. But I don't know if it's because of my interactions with death over the decades that left some kind of stain or some scar on my spirit, some scar on my soul. And now I'm beginning to experience it. The repercussions of my actions in the past are catching up to me. I don't know. Or maybe I'm walking between worlds more now. More than, how they used to, the old saying, having one foot in the grave. I think I have more than one foot in the grave these days. I probably have a 1 foot, whole leg, shoulder, hand, part of my head. And that is in the grave, and there's a good chance that has something to do with it as well. Tomorrow morning, I called a couple called one of my old witchy friends. She's going to come over, and I called a medium that I care about deeply, that I've known forever and a day, who's the real deal. Her blood runs strong. She's strongly talented, strongly gifted. I'm going to have them come over and do some readings with me so we can maybe see what's going on. I don't want to sound all weepy or be Captain Downer tonight, but this has been absolutely terrifying for me. I'm not someone these days that gets that's frightened, who becomes frightened very easily. not much frightens me anymore. But I am truly, truly terrified. If there's some connection that I inadvertently set up between myself and some crazy corner of the universe that can be severed, I'm hoping they can teach me how to do it or help me do it over the next few days. But I figured I would want to share that with everybody. That's why I did this video tonight, which I know has probably surprised a lot of people that, hey, where the fuck did that come from? That's completely unplanned. Just to let everybody know, the paranormal and supernatural worlds are not always, shits and giggles and clowns and unicorns and blessed be and light. Don't get me started about the blessed wannabes. That's a story for another day. um, but I'm hopefully they're going to help me get it shut down. Because if I wish I could, I really should one day do a show and a live stream and walk you all through my library of that I've collected over the decades of books and manuscripts I've collected on various supernatural and esoteric. And when I say that, science and the supernatural, they're the only difference between the two is that, somebody gets a PhD in it, gets a PhD in science, and there's no PhD in the supernatural. They're very close, when it comes down to it, it's a very thin line between those two things. So I don't intend to sleep a lot tonight. Although I don't have much of a choice, because once I get my medication cocktail, they'll put me down hard and fast. Um, but I don't look forward to it, because it's never a dreamless sleep, especially nowadays. Period. Like I said, I don't know if I transgressed and offended something or someone. There's nobody on the physical plane that's reaching out doing this. I've actually entertained that idea that I've pissed off something, pissed off someone out there who has enough spiritual, or spiritual juice to be able to work up a really good curse on my ass. But I've already done the head to toe inspection of that and of my aura, and there's been no indication I've been tampered with on a supernatural level from a person or from a human being. I went through all my bestiaries to see if there was anything that any of the various in the century supernatural critters out there that could do this, but there are a few out there that can do things that are similar, but nothing this hardcore or this persistent. And I would have noticed their presence by now, I think. Um, I know it's not those hairy bastards in the woods, the men the ones who walk behind the stones. I know it's not them. Uh, they're more, they're not very subtle when it comes to spiritual things. I know it's nothing, nothing parasitic. As for in the supernatural community, there's all types of supernatural parasites. But again, if you guys ever want me to do a show on supernatural beasties that are out there, we're not talking about cryptids. We're talking about, creatures that exist in the spiritual world. Things that, you know, look upon us as playthings, toys, and food. There's a whole lot of those out there. The Vargur, the Enkidu, they're too uppity to involve themselves in something like this. Plus, I've never put myself on any of their radar or did anything bad to them to make them bring their attention upon me. But before I end tonight, I'm going to end it a little early. I just want to do a quick show tonight and do a quick live tonight to explain things. Why I may act weirder than normal. And why I dropped off the map for a while. Why I try to pull my shit together. Enough. I'll tell you what, if I wasn't already mildly insane, this shit would drive you absolutely insane. It would drive you bonkers. But again, I've seen enough crazy shit in this world where it doesn't make it any less painful to witness, but to know that it's happening to the living people of now versus something that's happened in the past, that makes a difference. Especially there are people that I've had interactions with in the past. But here's my warning to everybody out there who watches this. You may watch movies, Hollywood movies about people who do dream walks and spirit walks, and do astral projection and walk outside their body and explore the universe around them. Take it from somebody who's done it for a good part of his life and is probably feeling and dealing with the repercussions from it now. It's terrifying. It's scary. It looks like fun at first, but unless you're really, really, really careful, you will hurt yourself doing it. And I don't advise anybody to go out there and give it a try or do it. Like I said, I've had a lot of experience in doing it. And it's fucked with me. And I haven't been able to fuck with it back. It's a one-way street. With that, guys, thanks for listening to my whine tonight. My 47-minute bitch fest tonight about this. I enjoyed having everybody come on and listen, and everybody who watches it in the future. This is my cautionary tale to everybody that's out there. There are real-world repercussions for doing the things that I do, that I have done, that I do, and I probably will continue to do. So all of you be careful. Hug the ones you love. See you again. Have a great night, everyone.